I'd like to go over a few more aspects of symbology. Here I've loaded a polygon data layer with a single color. And remember, I can right-click and go to Properties and change that simple fill color either by clicking on the side and getting this helpful circular wheel that I can move to a dominant color, then make it lighter or darker by moving around inside the triangle, left clicking and dragging, and then saying OK, apply and OK, and I change the color. Or if again I right click and go to the properties, I can go to the simple fill, and if I click in the color itself, I get a set of sliders that allow me to change things like the transparency in addition to the color across an area in a square, or my same circle, triangle, or a set of paletted colors, recent ones I've used. So I can say OK and apply that, and it works then for my entire study area. And I suppose each of these polygons is different and I want to give them a different color. Again, I can right click to the properties and then pick, rather than single symbol, categorize symbols. And so I have to go here and select what's the variable that has categories. I'm going to use a watershed number here, but I could categorize them by size or by other variables that I have there. This is the one I'm going to use. And so I'm going to have a random color set and have to classify it, looks in the watershed variable and adds then all the categories here. And so these are all the numbers of those that are there. I then apply it and say OK, and it's this random color palette for each of my different values in my variable that I'm using to drive the colors. Now I can change those individually. So for example, I can turn off the 0 color here, and when I apply it, you'll see that that area, that big matrix area, goes to no color at all. Or I can double click and I will get a same palette selector here for that color that I've double clicked on. So I can change that color if I want. I always have to apply and say OK, and there I have that color changed. I can turn multiple colors off. Sometimes I can do multiple properties, sometimes not. So for example, I could turn several of these off and then select and shift and hold to select others, and then I can change a color, or try at least in a simple fill, for all of these to, I don't know, bright red, or maybe I'll make them black just to see. Now sometimes the multiple switches don't work, so I do this here and you say, oh, they're all staying the same. So some you can only do one at a time, change the color one at a time. So there I go to change it to this gray. Now I can apply that. There's a bunch of different other options you can choose. So this is a gradient color. You see I can pick one here. And rather than in the simple fill, let's see, which one was that? Again, I'm going to use my identifier here and find out the number. That's watershed 10. So if I go to then the properties and go to watershed 10, I can set its color properties here in any one of many of these. I can do a crosshatch, or I can do a gradient fill, or a bunch of other different ones. So I can pick different patterns for these individually. I don't have to just go with simple fills. There's rim fills, center fills, gradient fills, lots of things. So I can change them individually. Another thing I might want to do in the properties for some of my features is label them. So I'm going to do single labels, and again I have to tell it what I'm going to use. Here I'll use shed number, I guess, apply and OK, and see I get a different number for each of these sheds depending upon what's in the table, right? So it's looking at the table attributes, watershed or shed number, it's using those. These are redundant in this case. This to categorize for color, and this to actually put the label in. I can right click again and go to properties. And for the labels, I can change the font size or the font type from a number of font types and increase the size. This is going to look really goofy, but I'm just showing you what it looks like. And so I get different labels, different colors, different outside boundaries if I want. So there's a lot to explore there. You can assign them individually or in groups. Now, I also have the ability to change the characteristics for point data or line data, just like I do for polygon data. So for the streams here, I can go to the properties. This is the stream network. And for the symbols, rather than using the same kind of line symbol, I can categorize them. And I can categorize them in random colors by the name, right? These named streams. So again, I have to classify them, and there are all these streams. They have different colors. I'll apply it and say, okay, and then you see each branch of the stream has a different color, each named branch. If I think that that's not thick enough, then in the symbols, I can go to the symbol and click on it, and you can see then I can make it thicker. So it keeps that color and makes them nice and thick, so I'm able to see them. Right, and so I have a rather funny looking set of assignments, but nonetheless I can change the colors as a function of a variable.